Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Cocktails and Crafts. I haven't done a nighttime show in a while. It's been too long, probably. So I see we've got Justin and Ken here. It's going to be kind of an interactive show like I try to do at night here. Time for Q&A at the end, of course. I'll open that up. So if you have questions, drop them in chat right now with the big old Q in front. That way I can find them easier. But yeah, tonight's show brought to you by Swear Jar, my favorite whiskey. I love Swear Jar. I actually love Swear Jar, and I'm loving the new Jameson Cold Brew, man. That stuff is solid. So cheers to everybody. Thank you all. I want to give you a little recap tonight. It's been a day, decompress time, been through kind of the ringer here. And I want to give you kind of a glimpse into where we landed on this whole thing. If you're not familiar with the Crafts-a-thon, we did a 24-hour straight through live stream over the weekend from Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific to Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. 24 straight hours. We had I think 20 guests. It was crazy town. And I want to just give a round of thanks. So let's just go right into that. So thank you to all of the presenters and participants. We had Casino Quest. And I'll tell you a little story here. So David, I met him a couple weeks back. I dropped into Casino Quest. I wanted to play, and I wanted to go practice craps actually before I went to the casino, get my throws in. And he was there. I'm like, hey, what's up? He didn't know me from Adam, of course. And I had thought of this idea on the plane ride in, and I'm like, wow, maybe I should just ask him if he'd be interested in doing it. So I asked if I could talk to him real quick, and they said, sure, come on back, say hi. I shook his hand, and I said, hey, I had this crazy idea, and he's like, we're in. That was it. Like, no talking. He was like, we're in, we got it, we're good. And they first up to bat, and they delivered, of course. And more about them later, because they're gonna circle back with us in a little bit. The Hawaii Crap Shooters, of course, we had so much fun with those guys. I talked to Brian today on the phone. It was fantastic. We had so much fun, and I really think the future of this show, the Cocktails and Craps, might just be more of that. Hey, Mudslide, Mac is here. Arnell is here. Honey Beginnings is here. Everybody's coming in. I think the future of the Cocktails and Craps show might end up being a lot of what we did with Hawaii Crap Shooters and Jeff and Square Pair. I think getting two people on camera running a strategy together, or some team play or something like that, that could be super fun. We had so much fun doing it. I think that energy kind of came through. I want to do more of that. And I think this show might become the home for some live play and some strategy discussions with other people. Charlie from DGE was here. Brave dude. I love Charlie. You don't have to agree with Charlie. A lot of people don't. And he actually prefaced when I asked him to come on, he's like, people don't like me, right? I'm like, I don't care. If you don't care, he's like, I don't care at all. And I wanted to kind of get into his brain a little bit. The guy's got like a beautiful mind, right? And I want to dig into that and give him his time to sort of explain and dig in. And it turns out that an hour wasn't enough. I'm going to have him on a couple more times and really kind of suss out the way that he thinks through this stuff. I think it's fascinating. Again, you don't need to agree with everything, but I think he makes you think, and I think that's a good thing. I was telling Ken at the end of his last segment, I think adult learners learn differently. Of course, I teach adults, and I know that it takes a minute sometimes, and sometimes it takes passion and emotion to trigger okay, I'm hearing something new, and I'm going to process that. I think Charlie brings that out, and I think he brought that out in the chat for sure. Definitely cool. Jacob wagered me this. The boss was here. And Jacob, he just moved back to Arkansas, and he doesn't have great internet at his house. He actually drove to Walmart to get better internet so he could talk to us from his car. I mean, dedication to the cause, dedication to Craps Nation, dedication to me. I love Jacob. I think he's a great guy, and I think I really, really, really appreciate his insight and he dropped so much knowledge on us in that hour. It was fantastic. Big AZ, of course. Big AZ likes to say he's not a personable guy or whatever. He was awesome. Big AZ was so much fun to talk to. And again, talking to him before the show, just getting to know him, knowing that he's from my hometown, Philly. It's fantastic, man. I love meeting him. So generous with his time, so generous with the golf outing that he put up. Awesome. Of course, you all know I love Ken. Ken did 2 segments for us. Ken's just Ken. I love Ken. Unfiltered all the time, and that's why we love him. Dave from Same Bet, the consummate professional. I like to think I'm okay at this. Dave is freaking good at this. And you saw that on display last night when he interviewed Rick from Let It Roll. Rick from Let It Roll. It was great. watching Dave work is an inspiration. And Dave was kind enough to come in at like 2 a.m. to like help us through this thing, which is great. The Square Pair, they got up at 2 o'clock in the morning their time and came in and threw me an hour, which was awesome. George from CY, we all know and love George in Craps Nation. George not only did an hour with me interview style where I could ask him, and I asked him some interestingly hard questions about dice control. I mean, I'm genuinely curious and cautiously optimistic and a little bit skeptical about the whole thing. And George just took every question and dove into me, which was great. Then he led the live fantasy craps later. So they did 2 hours of live fantasy craps that he streamed from his house in Cyprus over the internet with 10 people. It was ridiculous, man. It was crazy town. George, all over it. Joe from Craps Master Journey, great talking to you too. Newer channel, now making a turn into some different content for his channel. I think it's awesome. And Joe is just plugged in to this thing and loving it. Of course, we got the heavy hitter, Michael Shaka for the Wizard of Oz. And again, didn't know Michael ahead of this. I literally wrote to him on a whim. And because I was getting panicked, I had like 4 open spots. And I'm like, can I get, and he said, yeah, sure, I'm in. And he warned me ahead of time too. Like, I don't believe in trends. I don't believe in a lot of things you're talking about. I'm like, cool, come on and refute everything. And he just chapter and verse, gave me all his stats, all his ways of playing. It was great. Great to meet him. I think he's a really cool dude. Steen from Windcrafts also. I learned more from Steen in that 45 minutes with him and Vince, just asking some questions about coding in Windcrafts. There was things I didn't even know you could do. He just dropped the knowledge out there. I'm like, damn it, now I can do that stuff. So crazy to have him on there, and honored that he would just come in and do that for us. And I talked to him a lot over email. Seeing him in person and talking in person, that was awesome. Of course, Ed from Roll to Win. Ed from Roll to Win, if you didn't watch the live fantasy craps, Ed dropped a 41 roller during live fantasy craps. Then 2 hours later, an hour later, came back, talked to me about how dice control works and all that kind of stuff. Then he just dropped on his table and said, I'm going to try a new toss out with some things. And I think he had a 22, a 13, an 11, and a couple of 4s and 5s. Just working it through, man. The guy's a pro. And afterwards, he emailed me and kind of laid out more of what he was explaining on the show. He said, here's really what that means. And he gave me a lot of notes over email. I'm going to have Ed on again, and we're going to do a video together where we really break down the dice control series that I'm doing and kind of get his thoughts. Ed's fantastic human being. I love him. And speaking of fantastic humans, El Toro, dude. El Toro jumped into one of my chat rooms during the live stream I did with the Square Pair and just started saying, he was just chatting like, I'm like, my God, El Toro's here watching me, a little old stupid John. I called him up, we exchanged some emails and gave me his number. I called him up. We've been texting. Fast friends, man. Dude, you and I love you. You're such a great, great human. And I find more and more about you every time we talk. And it's just, man, and you came on and opened up, right? People don't always share their personal stories, and you did. And obviously Ken did too, right? Ken and you sharing those personal stories. David in the beginning talking about his battles with addiction. The fundraiser was about that. And the fact that you guys kind of came on and just like peeled it back for us and opened up and were really transparent. I mean, I can't even thank you enough for coming, let alone being transparent, let alone if I'll show you in a little bit what El Toro did for us in the fundraiser as well. Just an amazing person. Jeremy from Color Up, another heavy hitter. And Jeremy and I are I would consider us friends. I mean, we've talked a few times. I met him in person. I think Jeremy's a great, great guy. You saw him. I mean, he literally fought through airport security and made sure he made time for us to be here. He would have rather been home in his studio, of course, but he's like, whatever I can do to get on the show, I'll do it. And he made it happen. He kind of rushed in there early for his flight to make sure he had time for us. So, and Jeremy, of course, donated a bunch of great things to the auction, which was even more fantastic. So thanks to Jeremy for that. Jeff had a tough job to come after Jeremy, which was great though, right? Jeff and I have become really good friends. And I think Jeff and I kind of push each other a little bit in terms of like video qualities, and he's teaching me things and I'm watching him and we're both trying stuff. Jeff's a great strategist. He rolls out well. He explains things well. We call him he's got the pipes, man. Jeff has the golden pipes. Love it. And Jeff super generous. He worked all week long on a strategy for the show and lived up, man. He like won money on his table and donated the money that he won to the charity. Like he's just a boss. That was so damn cool. And you know, Greg brought it home. Greg came on last. Tough spot to be in, right? Following everybody else. Last person to go when I was probably pretty tired and obviously pretty tired. Greg brought energy. He taught like he always does. And since this show, Greg has been going live a few times. And right, fantastic. Greg goes live, and I love Greg's live shows. Greg's live shows are like his taped shows, but it's better because he can talk to you, which is cool. What a great cast of characters here. And there's more folks that we could have had. I mean, you know, I reached out and I have contacts now with, you know, with Rick from Let It Roll. I've got contacts with Heather from Vegas Aces, the Sin City Living guys. A lot of scheduling conflicts. We couldn't get everybody in here that wanted to be it. But man, I mean, the next time we do this, we may have to go 48 hours. I mean, there's so many people that want a part of what we did. And it's cool. Let's look at the stats. I want you to see what happened here. So here's the broadcast stat. Just going to blow you away. Now, this is not all the stats. This is, I'll explain it. Total we had was 1,400 plus unique viewers. Now, that's across all the channels. To the best of my ability, what happened was we had a technical glitch in the beginning where we were only streaming on my channel and not the other channels. So I got stats from YouTube from my channel, and I got stats from Restream for the 15 channels that simulcast the thing. Between the stats I could cobble together from both, there was 1,400 unique viewers, people that had never seen me or heard of us were watching. The peak was 124. We had 124 people at one time. And there was a period there of about 6 hours where there was over 110, 115, 120 the whole time. The spike is really tall. So over 100 people for a huge segment of this thing. We averaged 53 people the entire time, which, you know, whatever. The local news gets 1 million people, right? For 53 people to watch us doing this, so Duracell wasn't who was doing a simulcast. Everybody was. Everybody you see here in the list, every single channel, with the exception of a couple of them, were on the simulcast. We worked really hard to get everybody's channels hooked up, but it didn't happen until about 2 in the morning. I did something dumb. I messed up the simulcast. I fixed it at about 2 a.m. or so my time. So the second 13 hours was simulcast across every channel, except for the Wizard of Odds and Color Up couldn't get it working, and Windcraft. Everybody else had it going live. It was pretty cool. Everybody on here had it going. If you look at all their channels, you'll see that there's the Crapsathon is part of their work right now. You'll see it out there. We had, again, 53 on the average. We had 3,764 chats with 193 people writing chats. And there's your top chats. Now, this is not accurate. The top chats here is from the second 13 hours. So once we got the aggregate, once we got the simulcast going, Restream keeps its own stats. So this is the stats as of about 2:30 in the morning, my time, until about 6 p.m. So it's about 13 hours worth of stats. So Waylon, not to anybody's surprise, was the biggest chatter with 220 chats, which is insane. Greg, 144 chats. I'll bet you 44 of those chats were him trying to keep the peace. Greg did an amazing job of helping out with, a couple of, sometimes tempers flare a little bit, and Greg did a good job of keeping that down. We had some politics stuff going on. We had some porn going on. Greg was instrumental in keeping that down. I know a lot of you did work with the porn stuff that was coming in and just knocking those things out. So I appreciate that for sure. Dan Tana, 143. You're like third in the list. I'm not sure if Dan's here right now. Dan did a video today. I did a video today of his strategy. And he did another one tonight, and I watched it tonight. Anyway, a little back and forth there. I'll address him tomorrow. Great guy, skill and luck. Of course, Will was in there. PJ, of course, was in there. A lot of the familiar faces to those who watch me in the mornings. It was really cool to see all the, look at that, 3,700 chats. Are you kidding me? That's such high engagement. And the big one here is 40,000 watch hours between my channel and every other channel that was out there of all the viewers that we saw. So 40,000 hours of viewing on this thing. I don't even know what to say about that. That's insane. Here's the totals. You ready for the totals? A little bit of drum roll here. The auction totals look like this. Let me get over my window here. I got this sorted here. We'll sort it by the price. Um, let's see, there we go. So the color up table layout went for 5 1/4, which is great. Let's see, the day in AZ with Big AZ went for 400. So somebody's going to go, and I've talked to everybody here who won, obviously. Tito's going to go down there, and he's going to go play with Big AZ probably all day. He doesn't golf, but he wants to just hang out and learn craps from the master, which is cool. The white dice have been sent out. The El Toro Crystal Light is going out tomorrow, Don. Most of these things are being sent. They have been sent or are being sent. The shirts have to be custom printed, so they're going to take a little bit to get out there. Great job on the auction items. We raised $1,900 in auction items alone, which is super cool, which is about what I expected. I figured we'd get about 2K or so in the auction items. A little late start on some of them, and that's just because I didn't promote it well enough, and we'll talk about that later. The bid totals for the actual bidding, as of 20 minutes ago, $5,000 in bids. So we raised a guaranteed $5,000. The auction raised almost $2,000. Some of the auction money came into here, right? So people, bid on the auction, they pay here. Some of the auction money went to PayPal. I've got to move that money to here. The grand total for this is now just over $6,000. It's like $6,014 total between the auctions that have not yet been paid or not yet been seen, calculated into this total. So a little over $6,000 raised in the whole thing, which, if we would have raised 25 bucks, I'd have been happy because, again, it's a idea that I had just a few weeks back, 18, 19 days ago, put it together quickly and cobbled it together. But, it worked well. I'm actually really, really proud of how that turned out. I want to talk about the technology a little bit because this is an important call out for us. We had a couple of people to call out. First, I'll go from the bottom up. BidBeacon and GoFundMe. BidBeacon, as you saw, is where we ran the auction from. It's a free service. I did pay 20 bucks because I had to upgrade to the level that let you have more than 10 auction items. Not a big deal. GoFundMe was able to handle all the donations for us. They do take 1.5%. There was that tip option, which I think was confusing for people, but that's their operational cost. Everything except for 1.5% goes straight to the charity, and the charity puts 100% of the donations straight to the people. So with these two services, BidBeacon and GoFundMe, we did it. I'm happy with that. Next time we do this, we won't use GoFundMe. Google has and YouTube has a way to do donations through the channel, through the chat. So the super chats can go to the charity. I don't have enough subscribers yet to do it. You need 10,000 subscribers to get to a point where you can do live donations. So my new goal is to pump the channel up to 10,000 subscribers. So next time we do this, you can just super chat during the show and goes right to the charity. 0%. Google takes nothing off of those. All donations through Google to the charities take zero cut. So it's 100% straight through, and I want to get to that point. That's going to be a major goal of ours. The other two things to call out are Restream and Ecamm, and I want you to know how this all works. I'm going to pull a Jeff here. I'm going to use my phone here and show you the room and how we set it all up, so you can see the kind of how the tech works in here. But Ecamm is the software that I use to do the streaming. I'll show you how that looks in a minute. It's simple, just like an app that I open up and I turn my camera on and magic happens. Restream is another service that we use, and it costs a little. I think I spent like 60 bucks to get the stream going for us. And what that does is all the channels, I gave them all a link. They click the link. They say, yes, we approve. And Restream takes the feed from my Ecamm, from my system. I feed to Restream. Restream streams it to all 15 or whoever number of sites. Except for my mistake in the beginning by hitting the wrong button, Ecamm streamed live to YouTube for 24 straight hours with 0 hiccups. It never gave up once. It didn't glitch. It didn't pause. There was no problems at all. The problems that we had technology-wise were people connecting in with the interview link and their mic's not working. We expect a little bit of that because it's happening so fast. Unlike a show like Dave Carlin, where he gets the guest in 20 minutes ahead of time when we practice, we couldn't do that. We were just kind of going live. But the stream itself never failed. 24 straight hours of streaming, it never failed. I pay literally $19 a month for Ecamm, And that is $19 a month well spent as far as I'm concerned. OBS is what most people use. It's free. I pay for the service because I'm a believer in, if it's great, you pay for it and get great service, and I'm happy. So Restream, absolutely fantastic service. Both of these companies, they crushed it. Restream streamed to 15 channels for 13 straight hours. Zero hiccups once we got it going. I can't even speak highly enough of all that. So that's all what happened there. I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to actually change my camera out for you because people have been asking, how did you do it? How did you stay awake? And how did it all work? Quick pop here. I'm going to change the camera out so you can see my phone. Hold on. Let's make this look like my phone. Okay. So here, I'm going to give you a quick virtual tour of my room so you can see how this works and what I really did for the whole day. This, by the way, is my desk. I sit here all day long while I'm coding and while I'm teaching and working. And what you got here is my computer, right? Computer, mouse, whiskey, my note from my daughter that says, "I love you, Dad," which is awesome. And there's the Ecamm software. It's just a video window. That's all that it is. And it goes. And over here is your chat. So I look at my second monitor for the chat output. I've got my podium where I stand and sit, and here's my extra chip rack. There's the cough drops that got me through it. There's the dice I was throwing with Brian and them. And then on the other side of the room, throwing table, the actual table, and then here's the camera. And that camera just points down and it goes around the room. The wire does into the back of the computer. Super clean setup, right? There's not a whole lot of wires. There's not a whole lot of craziness out here at all. And that's it. It's a tiny little room. I'll go to the door here and show you. It's kind of a small room, but that's where I spent that 24 hours straight, was in that room. I did come out here a little bit, and this you might recognize from the first video. That's where my table used to be, was behind the couch here in this downstairs area. And this is where I would kind of come and relax. Here's the auction items about ready to get packed up and sent out. And of course, there's the TV and the guitar. And that's it. That's the whole setup. There's nothing to it. There's like no wires. There's no complexity. It's literally just me sitting here at my computer. And again, it couldn't be any easier, right? Ecamm makes it easy to just click a button here and change what you're seeing. If I do that, I'll click it over here. If I click it over here, you'll see that it just changes. And it comes back and you can see me again. Very, very simple for me to change what we're seeing. I love it. Super, super easy. And it wasn't hard. Like I said, the costs involved aren't much. I pay Ecamm, like I said, about $20 a month or so to do the streaming. I pay Restream about $40 a month so I can do the live streaming. And let's see, get the right stream again. And that's it, right? And now that we're 1,000 subscribers, we make enough money through the advertisements to pay for both of those things. And so that becomes nothing. The camera back there cost me about $600. The microphone that I used during the live stream was about $400. And, various whatever booms and mic stands and that kind of stuff is, doesn't cost much. It's the cost of doing business. But that's it. That's the technology that we use. So what's next is a lot of cool things. What's next? What's next is going to be the videos. I'm going to take off the big videos, by the way. The 24-hour streams are coming down from my YouTube channel. It's impossible to watch 24 hours of video straight. YouTube doesn't like it. It takes a long time for it to load. It's a pain in the butt. What I'm going to do is carve up all 24 hours into individual videos. I've got about 6 or 7 of them done. It takes a minute for the computer to do that. And I'll give each provider their hour that they can repost. I'll post them on my channel as well. So you'll see that each hour will come out separately from each channel over the course of the next week or so. You'll see that. The auction items are being shipped as we speak. Most of you who have items, they're either in the mail already or they're going to go out in the mail tomorrow. So that's all that. And plans are in place for the next one. We've already got it wired up. I've talked to David. Casino Quest is going to open up their doors to us. We're going to be able to film there in person at the school, all the craps tables, all the roulette tables, all the gamings that they have. We're going to do like a 24-hour game night. They're dealers. I've got other dealer friends that are going to be there too. All the YouTubers are welcome to come in person and participate in person. So it'll be a live event there, 24 hours. It's going to be way, way cool. So that's what's happening. The next one, I'm not sure when it's going to be, so that's going to be that. Q&A time. So that's the summary. Hope that covers everything, the questions that you all had. I'll start with this. Honey Beginnings is asking, how can we contact me outside of live chats? You can email me. john@procaps.net is the best way to get to me. That'll go to my personal email. And I'm pretty good about getting back to you relatively quickly. So yeah, drop me an email whenever you want to, and then we can become offline friends. So there, yeah, Mid-Atlantic, I saw you pulled yours out already. I have the 24-hour one giant ass file that I had to load up into iMovie and carve it up, and it's just taking forever for things to process. We'll get it done. Plus I'm working. I work for a living too, so 8 hours a day I'm not doing videos. So that's that. Drop me questions if you have things that you want to know. Let me know here. I'm going to run through the chat backwards here so I can see if I missed anything, and I'll put some stuff on that I think is interesting, like Hal saying that Jacob was great. Looked like he was in a coffin. Absolutely. Jacob drove to Walmart to talk to us because the internet was better, right? And he sat in his car for an hour to talk to you, which was, I mean, hell, how cool is that, right? Yeah, and people are saying things like this. I find DGE entertaining. The problem with DGE is that he's talked so fast and he's saying so much. I was just like whiplash trying to get it all in my head. That's why I think I need more DGE, not less. I need him more for shorter periods of time and on a focused topic, and really dig in and pick that out. So definitely want more him. I think he's controversial because he's a Martingale guy, and we know that. But I think that's, it is what it is, and I don't care about that. I like to see. I'm a computer programmer. You know this, right? I like theory, logic. I like analytical thinking. I like thinking outside the box, and I encourage that in my students. And he's a guy that does all of those things, and I want to get into how it works, how his brain works. I think it's always interesting, whether you like it or not, or believe it or not. It's interesting to see how somebody's brain works, and that's what I want more of. And yeah, Hal, this was BS. And the thing is, the way that porn works, and I know a little bit about this industry from previous software development stuff that I had done. They will find every way. They have more money than the government does to find where to advertise themselves, and that's what they do. So we just got to fight. I got to put some more filters in there and get them cleaned out. But you guys did a great job of getting them off there. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, everybody says this, dude. El Toro, we all miss your videos. We all miss your videos, and I know that you said you're coming out in the beginning of the year. That's going to be really, really good. It's going to be super cool. What else do we have? Top 10 lists I didn't expect to be on. Yeah, right. PSO, you talked a lot, right? That's awesome. What else do y'all want to know before I go in there? Look at Months Life Max here. We're talking about some other stuff. He said, look at this way, any strategy that works till it doesn't. And any crap strategy works when the dice pass. That's the magic, right? That's totally it. Everything, it's got to cooperate, right? And I think Dantana said this today, and he was trying to explain luck. And I heard this, I'm sure you have too, where the saying is, luck happens when preparation meets opportunity. And you can practice all day long, you can do all your things, and when the stars align and your strategy is the right one for the way the dice are rolling that day, you're lucky and you get to win. And that's really cool. So I think that's the thing, right? We can practice all we want to. You make your own luck to some extent by being ready for when it happens and able to jump in there. So it doesn't matter. Waylon, you're funny. So Honey Beginnings, I stumbled across craps and fell in love with the game. How do you suggest introducing new people and growing the community? Honestly, get them to the YouTube. I mean, seriously, I've been playing craps for my whole life, it seems like. And I knew what I knew. Right, I knew what I knew from watching videos back in the day from John Patrick. That was my thing, was VHS tapes with him, and studying that, and then taking from that what I could, and finding my own way through it, and becoming the way that I am. The YouTube experience is chock full of. There's a lot of it out there, right? Start with the color up stuff. Jeremy does a great job of basics. Grow them into it. I'm going to do a video here soon where I'm going to take my sister-in-law, actually, who wants to learn craps, and I'm going to film myself teaching her how to play craps as a way to show you a good way to show a new person how to play it. It'll be interesting. And I think that's the way that I would do it, is start with some color up basic videos, grow yourself into things, because you're not going to understand a new person what me or what Greg or what Jacob is saying without that foundational knowledge. So I think some of the basic Jeremy stuff, I think, is where I'd probably push people for sure. Yeah, Gainer, you're right, man. The comments were rude about it. I assume you're talking about DG. Is that what you're getting to? Or you're talking about Howard Rock and Roller? I'm not sure. I did try to get to Howard, and I had a nice conversation with him on the phone. And Howard brought up a really good point, and I got to share it with you because, we teach gambling on our channels, and we're trying to raise money to stop people from becoming problem gamblers. And he's like, that feels like it's a little bit, orthogonal to what you're teaching and what you're raising money for. And he's like, I just don't know if I can get my head wrapped around that. And I respect that opinion. I hope that we're doing a good enough job of teaching people how to play safely. That's kind of my goal. I want you to be winners. And I'm hoping that by being a stick in the mud that I am sometimes, that we don't, that we're helping and not hurting. And yeah, Gainer, and I'll repeat that because you see, people were kind of rude about Charlie. You don't have to love Charlie, right? But Charlie, like the Wizard of Oz, people who think in math, and I've talked to them both, right? They think in math in 3 dimensions. I don't. I think in math like a third grader does. I'm like, if I do this and that happens, I'm going to win $8. Like that's, I'm basic, and I like to play a basic way. They think out here and in the vortex. I find it fascinating. I don't always agree with it, but I find it fascinating. I think that's the thing that you want to get from it. Charlie spins a great tale, and I think people reacted to that, and that's fine. I like to see how people think, and I think that's an important piece of it for sure. And yeah, Shackelford was spot on. He was great. Shackelford was great. So professional, right? So professional, so learned. Really good. I got a lot out of that interview with him for sure. And actually, Greg got 2 days of content out of it because Greg's been rolling the Michael Shackelford way of playing craps for 2 days now, and I think enjoying it a little bit. So that's been kind of fun. Yeah. So I'm trying to think what else we need to talk through here, other than the fact that this show, I think I know where I want to go. I was, personal note here. I was wondering all along, what do we do with the channel, right? We always talk about it. What happens with the channel? And the Coffee and Crap show in the morning has been the morning drive with John, right? Let's talk a little bit of theory. Let's educate. Let's roll. I think the nighttime show has got to be me with Brian, and me with Charlie, and me with whoever wants to roll with me live. Jeff, of course. Hell, Dan Tana, come on in. Greg, and let's roll it live. And just kind of the interplay, I think, between two people is really fun. And I had a great time doing that. So, I see Jeremy's here. Welcome, Jeremy. Thanks in person for all you did, man. I mean, I really appreciate it. We were just talking you up a little while ago, making special time at the airport to get to us, to make sure we carved out time and you had time. I can go on all day. You were instrumental to the whole thing. Really appreciate it. Yeah, the man, the myth, the legend, he's here. And yeah, and Jeff is saying the same thing, right? We're all entitled to an opinion. And I was telling Ken, and Ken thought it was nuts. I'm like, I enjoy a little bit of debate. Like I'm from the East Coast, and we're debaters. We debate very loudly on the East Coast. I enjoy that as long as there's respect, and as long as there's respect and class with it. That's the only thing you ask for. Be classy, be respectful. Disagree. Healthy disagreement is what made this country what it is. And you can say what you want to about the country today, but the country is founded on healthy disagreement. We should be doing that because it pushes us into places that you don't want to be. If it's uncomfortable, it's probably the right place to be. And I always feel like if you're comfortable being uncomfortable, we're going to roll and it's going to be good. That's what I want. So, yeah, Ted. Yeah, Ted had my laptop streaming all night. That's great. People in the room next to me, what is this guy doing over there, right? Yeah, Jeremy is a hard act to follow for sure. You did a great job, Jeff. I think, the lineup is what the lineup is, and to me, you're all friends. And I was able to go from, talking to El Toro and Jeremy and you, and it's seamless to me. Right. And you don't level set anybody. It was great. I thought you were awesome. It was fantastic, Jeff. You were great. Yeah. So Yeah, that's really what I've got. I just wanted to say thank you and give the stats. And we did really good. I'm going to put the stats up one more time because I think I want to end with this screen in your eyes. $5,000 raised. Direct donations, $5,000. Look in the middle, please, everybody. I may have glossed over this earlier, but please look in the middle because the donation site is public. Not only did I get to spend an hour with El Toro, not only did he create us that awesome crystal that went in the auction, he made a huge ass donation. This guy puts his money where his mouth is, and he opened up, right? He opened up and he was transparent and bore a part of his soul with us in the interview. I mean, there's a person that is one of the best humans you're gonna find. So yeah, huge number here, 5,093 direct donations, and of course the auctions that brought in almost $2,000 in auctions. So I mean, we couldn't have done any better than that. I mean, that's above and beyond what I think was even possible. Hal, this is great. My wife is sort of okay with the hobby. My wife and I had this really fun relationship. I've been married for 26 years, going on 27 years. So we definitely have this great, like, it's time to be together time and you go do your thing time. And we're really good at knowing when that is. We both work from home. So she works, in the upstairs on the third floor of our house. I work here in the basement and we're on essentially the same schedule. She starts at 6 a.m. I do my show at 8. So it works out. Our schedules actually align perfectly, except for now. Now I'm late for dinner, but it works really good. She's okay with it. I don't spend a lot of money on it because most of the gambling that I do, I'll put this back up, is here in the basement. And I'm ready. When I go. And she knows when it's going to be, and I'm not there very long. So yeah, you're right about this skill. Michael's body language looked like he expected people to pounce on him as all the way through the interview, except at the end. And I tried to make him feel comfortable because I didn't want him to feel like we're here to attack anybody, right? And I wasn't here to attack George or whatever, right? I wanted to ask honest questions, like educate me on the thing that you're trying to say. Please make it make sense to me and like everybody else. And I think Michael did an amazing job of that. And George and Ed Robinson broke that stuff down because, again, dice control is an interesting and highly debatable topic. People on both sides of that thing broke that down for you in such adult, respectful ways. With I couldn't ask for anything better. Like that was the perfect people to talk the subject with, and it worked out great. So it was fantastic. Yeah. How my wife is a gem. Kathy is awesome. She's put up with me for a long ass time, and I've done some dumb shit. I'm telling you. I mean, everybody here probably has done some dumb shit. My wife has put up with all of it. Yeah, I have. Someday we'll hear the story, but she's done great. She's and again, I said this in the episode. I'll say it again because now you're all awake and you can hear this. And this goes back to what we had with the chat getting out of control sometimes, which is this: relationships cross lines, right? And at some point, you're in that dance and you're in that kind of like we're dating phase and everything's great. And that's where my channel has been for a long time. We're kind of all figuring it out and yeah. And at some point, you cross this line where you say, you know what? We're okay to say whatever is on our mind safely. My wife can tell me anything. I can tell her anything. And there's no offense taken because we're completely able to be transparent. When you cross that line with your spouse, your person in your life, when I cross that line with a student, when a student feels like they can say anything to me, the instructor, I know that we broke through and now we can really start learning. We have done this, right? In our chat here tonight, in my chat every day, our community has done that. We're at this nexus point where we're feeling very comfortable saying what we have to say, largely without taking offense. I think it's great. I think we're doing good things. It's a matter of keeping it at that productive level, right? And I think there's transparency and there's openness and there's not feeling like you have to censor yourself. And we're getting to that point where it's good. Every relationship, marriage, kids, student, teacher, community leader, I guess is what I am, and the community. When we cross those lines, it just again, you were dating me. Look, dude, you're stalking me. You know that, Rob. You're in every video. No, I'm kidding. But that's what I mean. When you can be honest and say, look, here's where you screwed up. I need you to do this because I'm not getting what I need from you. And you say that, and I go, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to give you that. Instead of me going, oh, screw you, you're being mean. That's what I'm talking about. That when we get to those levels of conversations, things change drastically. And I'll call Jeremy out again, because Jeremy put a video out today where he's opening up the Color Up Club to everybody for free for 12 days. Get in there, because that community has done that too. Everybody in that community is wide open. We're no holds barred. We talk, we debate, we disagree, and we're solid, man. He has built such a great, classy, respectful community in there. I love it. Get in there and do that. Greg's here. How you doing, buddy? You're coming in the last second. I'm going to go up and eat some dinner now, but I appreciate you being here. And yeah, how Mrs. Pro Craps and Mrs. Money Shot, two of the best ladies in YouTube right there, right? The most respected for sure. Greg and the cats. Yeah, right. Cool. I think on that philosophical note, maybe I've had too many whiskeys tonight. I don't know. That was a good way to probably end this thing. Here you get dinner and a show and some life advice, right? I'm all things to all people. Fun though. Fun 24 hours. Fully recovered. People say, how did you do it? Just do it. It actually, the adrenaline rush of the whole thing kept me awake. It was not a problem. Next time we do it, like I said, we're going to be at Casino Quest in Las Vegas. We'll put it together now so we have more time to plan it and get it right. More cameras, more engagement, get everybody in one place. It'll be really it'll end up being like a big meetup, as well as the filming. So that's coming. Thanks in advance to David. Thanks to all the people, I'll put you up here again, that contributed their time, their items, their merchandise, their dollars. Thanks to all of you out there who, I'll put the numbers up again. Thanks to all of you who participated and kept it going and kept the chat clean, get all that pouring out of the damn chat, kept this thing rolling for us. No way this thing succeeds without everybody out there. And that's what I got, man. Thank you again, everybody. How much alcohol, honest to God, Ted, I will tell you the truth. I had 2 whiskeys during the night, both of them inside of a cup of coffee. So I had 2 Irish coffees during the night, and about 3 cups of coffee and a hoagie. And that was about it. I didn't have much, didn't take much. I actually lived on cough drops most of the night. That was how that was. Wasn't that hard, actually. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, these are going to take a minute, Duracell. I'll get them out. Again, it takes about an hour to process each one because of the size of the videos. So I'll get them out as soon as I can for sure. Yeah, the next one will be amazing. It's going to be better. Now that we know we can do it, we'll do it every year. Folks on this list, expect an email from me, by the way. I will reach out to you. I'd like to get a meeting together at Jeff's suggestion that we get together, talk about what went well, what didn't go well, kind of a root cause analysis. We used to call it a post-mortem meeting to see what we can do to improve next time, and that's going to be what we're going to do. So thanks, Jeff, for reminding me to do that. I'll get that scheduled here in the next week or so. But in the meantime, everybody, you rock. Thanks for making this thing work. Loved every second of it. We'll keep at it. I'll see you in the morning for coffee and craps. Thanks, everybody. Bye.